smiled and began to write a reply. It was written on the wall that the purple pearl herb should be in the sun for 3 days. The roots of the mountain flowers should be removed, and the young trefoil should be harvested. The plant should not be more than 5 years old. Qi Shengyu said that the purple pearl grass grows on its own. The man then shouted that this was nonsense, just nonsense. Purple pearl grass grows in cold and dark places. Exposing it to sunlight is like throwing it away. The man turned to the chairman saying, "Stop putting up with this. This guy is just crazy. He's going right now and petitioning to have his license taken away." But the chairman told him no. Suluo stated that the latter was absolutely right. Shenyu asked, shocked that the other one was right. The chairman explained that the purple pearl herb holds vast stores of cold and dark yin energy. It is this energy that affects the healing properties of other ingredients. This method can be used to solve this problem. As for the mountain flower, the roots do increase the effectiveness of the medicines, but when combined with these ingredients, it produces the opposite effect. The same goes for the trefoil. Suluo added that it was the truth. A valid method, he had tested it himself. But how could a third-rank alchemist know the answer to this question? Shenyu thought shockedly about the fact that he had answered correctly. How was this possible? Yang Feng asked Chairman Liu, "Are you sure everything is all right?" Zhang asked what was he talking about. The man noticed that the wall was glowing. He thought it was over. He's about to be punished. The alchemists on the other side must be furious at such a random answer. The man turned away, thinking that this was the end of his career as an alchemist. But then Hong Yun and Zhang Cheng shockedly asked, "How is this possible?" They told Alchemist Mu to take a look. The writing was on the wall that all was correct. The answer was accepted as payment for the abandoned prescription. Yan Feng asked in surprise, "What is correct? You mean he is saved?" The man sighed happily. But the next question appeared on the wall, which stated that it was not uncommon for explosions to occur during the production process of the Qiqiao 4th rank pill. How would he resolve this matter? The man once again came to dread. Hong Yun asked in surprise, "What is the Qiqiao pill? This is a 4th ranked pill. Not every 5th ranked alchemist would be able to answer this question. This pill clears qi channels and also greatly improves the strength of the person who took it." Are they really asking a question about something so valuable? Zhang Cheng that the alchemists on the other side are definitely sane. Hong Yun said that it is unbelievable. They keep asking questions. Is Chairman Liu really that capable? Zhang slyly thought about what he might respond to that, however. Seeing his answer, the 3 men were horrified, thinking that this was too much. Zhang wrote that it would cost them 3 spirit stones. At the same time in the International Alchemist Guild Association, Qi Shengyu thought about the fact that they decided to keep asking questions to see if it was really his knowledge, or if he was just lucky. But this guy, does he think that they don't know the answers to these questions? But the chairman said for him to just agree. Shengyu asked in surprise, so he would agree? Suluo awkwardly said that yes. This is a question that he himself does not know the answer to. He is extremely curious about what the latter will answer. Shengyu thought, what doesn't he know? Chairman Su is the most savvy alchemist in the association. How could he not know the answer to this question? And didn't he say that they were just testing him? How did things turn out like this? And especially if that person doesn't know the answer themselves, how will they know if that person's answer is correct? But they wrote on the wall that they agree. Zhang replied that its ingredients were extremely reactive in nature. To avoid any unforeseen consequences, all the ingredients should be soaked in running water and then add dragon grass. Su Luo headed towards the exit saying, "Let him wait. Need to check." After a short amount of time, holding the pill he received in his hands, the chairman thought to himself that everything was right. It had worked. The question that 4th rank alchemists ask could be solved by a person who had passed the exam a moment ago and became a 3rd rank alchemist. What's going on? The chairman shouted that it was impossible for Alchemist Mu to be standing there on the other side. He ordered for someone to go and check who it really was. If Alchemist Mu was actually so capable, he would have made a name for himself long ago. How could he stay in the shadows for so long? Qi Shengyu said that he was going to Xuanyuan right now, but the chairman stopped him, saying that first all the alchemists must be gathered. Meanwhile, Zhang was happily thinking about the fact that he would now be able to make a frost pill for Zhao Yao. He didn't spend a dime, and he would also get 3 spirit stones. What a success. He then turned to the men, asking when he would receive the spirit stones. Hong Yun replied that they couldn't be sure. According to the rules, in about 2 weeks. Zhang asked, "You have to wait 2 weeks?" "That long." Yang Feng excitedly asked Chairman Liu, what should they do now? The guy replied that they could start preparing the ingredients now. The man said that even though the frost pill was a rank 4 pill, but the ingredients needed to make it were quite common. They could all be found here. However, even if they had all the ingredients, they wouldn't be able to concoct the pill without a rank 4 alchemist. Zhang asked who said that. He's the one who's here. He's the one who'll help him make it. Yang Feng felt as if he had been struck by lightning. Was he thinking of creating a 4th rank pill? With his level, he was able to create a 3rd rank pill and stomp his leadership. Zhang told him not to worry. Just let him prepare the ingredients. Once everything was ready, he would help. The man awkwardly asked, "What will the man help? Would he really be able to?" Zhang replied that even if it didn't work, what could happen? Worst case scenario, the whole thing would blow up. The 3 men were shocked again. Yang Feng thought that one is really considered to be some kind of trifle. If it's a rank 4 pill, just how powerful would the explosion be? Yang Feng, wiping his sweat, told the chairman that it might seem like there was little difference between the 3rd and 4th rank pills, but it was actually not like that. If there was an explosion, no 1 and 9th rank experts would survive. Not to mention them only making a breakthrough at rank 8. Thinking about it, Zhang asked, could this explosion destroy the entire guild? He thought about what he thought the explosion could be like that time. Who would have thought that the explosion of the sawed-off 4th wound could be so devastating? Yanfeng said that it wasn't just because it could lead to such consequences, but also because the ingredients to make the pill were quite valuable. One wouldn't want to waste them. In terms of total cost, it would take 3 spirit stones to acquire it. And if you converted it into coins, it would cost hundreds of millions. Such prices made Zhang utterly horrified. Ask what are 3 spirit stones? Hundreds of millions? Zhang said that wouldn't do. The explosion may be nothing, but they can't let such valuable ingredients go to waste. The guy started writing something on the wall again. A question appeared on the wall. Are they still there? Do they have any more questions? One question is 3 spiritual stones. It will answer everything. The men on both sides were surprised to realize that the guy was serious. 10 minutes later, Zhang was standing against the wall, asking why no one was answering. Didn't they have such means? Shame. 4th rank alchemists are so poor. Did the man think about why the shame right away if they really had no questions? To call 4th rank alchemists poor and say that it's a disgrace. Yang Feng is afraid that only one person is capable of this. Yang Feng told the chairman that they could use those spirit stones to acquire materials, right? Hong Yun and Jiang Cheng decided to get out of here as soon as possible, or they would be dragged into this as well. But Jiang told them to stay. Those just don't want to ask questions because they don't want to pay. But what about them? If they have any questions, he can answer everything. All they need to do is pay. The men froze. Those replied that they had no questions. Zhang said then he could help them cure their illnesses. The man replied that they and their families were all healthy. They thanked Chairman Liu for his concern. In the lab of the Alchemist's Guild, Yanfeng asked the chairman would he really let him do this. Examining the herbs, Zhang replied that yes, but the latter must follow all his instructions precisely. A mistake would cost too much. Alchemist Mu, who was wearing full equipment, said that this was a rank 4 pill. Does he want to wear protective special clothing? The guy replied that it was not necessary. Yanfeng thought about the fact that this person was incredibly talented, as they were able to see for themselves today. If he missed such an opportunity, he was afraid he would regret it for the rest of his life. A rank 4 pill, albeit very dangerous. But if it was successful, it would be a breakthrough. Zhang looked at the man and said they could begin. Meanwhile, Hong Yun and Jiang Cheng were standing outside. The alchemist asked the man if he thought it would work out. The man replied that he didn't know what to say to him. This Chairman Liu is the most unpredictable person he has ever met in his life. He bets he has rendered the alchemists on the other side speechless, to resolve such matters that even alchemists of the highest ranks cannot. Hong Yun said that it was truly beyond his imagination. It was beyond his imagination. Jiang Cheng thought about the fact that as coming from the Zhang family, he believed that he was a genius in his own right. He believed that he needed to put in a little effort, and he could become like Mo Hongyi and Mo Yu. However, when he met Zhang Huan and Chairman Liu, he realized that he still had too much to learn, and Hong Yun said that whether it works out or not, he is afraid that from now on Mr. Mu's skills will progress at an incredible speed. This way, he could also become a 4th rank alchemist. The man added that the doctor, with his knowledge of the basics, was guiding a 2nd ranked alchemist while processing a 4th ranked pill. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he would definitely say that he hadn't heard more nonsense in his life. Meanwhile, at Qianwu Academy, Lu Chang was drenched in sweat, breathing heavily. Looking at the open box, the boy said that this was his 4th training. The master said that his strength would reach its limit after 5 training sessions, and then the medicine would stop working. The guy clenched his fist, saying that with each training session he felt a drastic change in his body. He hoped that after the 5th one passed, he would be able to reach the peak of the 7th rank. Looking at the purple powder in the box, Lu Chang added that he must take his revenge. There was still a long way to go. Master said to use half of the powder after the 5th training session, but the guy furrowed his eyebrows, suggesting that if the 5th workout didn't have a tremendous effect, maybe increase the dosage. If that didn't work either, he'd use the whole thing. Taking the powder in his hands, he said again that he had to take revenge. Lu Chang poured all the powder on himself and his body caught even more fire. The boy grabbed his throat because he couldn't breathe. A searing pain seized him. Groaning in pain, the guy thought about the fact that he couldn't die. For the last 2 years, he's been completely devoted to this. He has to get revenge. He's not afraid of hardship. That's why he chose this path. He'll definitely avenge them. The boy was almost lying on the floor, stretching his arm forward. He realized that the master believed in him. He asked his father and mother to wait a little longer. The fireball began to mingle. Straightening up, Lu Chang thought there, until he fulfills his duty, he can't die. When it was over, steam was coming out of the guy's mouth. The doors opened. Hong Yun and Zhang Cheng looked at the door in surprise, thinking that was it. Yang Feng and Zhang Huang came out of the lab. The man asked them, how did it go? Bleeding sweat, Alchemist Mu replied successfully. The 2 men were surprised. Hong Yun said that Chairman Liu was really able to do it. It's a miracle. And that's just with knowledge from medicine. Looking at the tired Zhang Huang, Yang Feng thought that after working side by side with him, he could accurately say that he had a deep knowledge of alchemy. This was not something that could be nurtured from the knowledge of medicine alone. Holding the box in his hands, Zhang thought about the fact that now that they had the frost pill, everything was ready. We need to go back and resolve this conflict. After that, Zhang Huang helped Mu Shuiqing, and the healing power in her body came back into action. The girl thanked him, and after that, in the guise of Yang Huang, the guy gave the frost pill to Zhao Yao for her to use for training. The girl also thanked him. The next day at Tianwu Academy came. Meng Tao told Master Liu that Master Sun had stopped by since morning, waiting for about 2 hours. Zhang thought there in surprise, wasn't he, Mo Hong Yi? Why did he need them? Finding the prince, he asked him what he had so much free time for. Why was he looking for it? And the prince grudgingly thought about the one asking about free time. He's practically in the classroom at night for the sake of waiting for the 2nd rank master exams. 10 hours each of studying with students in an attempt to build trust. That's a lot of free time. He shows up here once every few days for a measly half hour and the students are still resolutely devoted to him. The prince said there were 2 reasons. 1, the principal wants him to arrange a meeting with Master Zhang. He wants them to sit at the same table, talk about everything and separate their students. Zhang asked in surprise, what did the man want him to do to meet Master Zhang? And then the guy laughed, saying enough was enough. How could he face himself? Even if he could somehow do it, he would still never agree to it. But Mo Hong Nis grudgingly said that no one asked him to arrange all of this. The prince said that he said he was only going to be an ordinary teacher, but he became the chairman of the medicine guild. And now his students are fighting with Master Zhang's students. This is an incredibly high-profile event. People just can't help but pay attention to it. He caught himself in a similar situation. The prince said that of course he knew how someone would react to that. However, the headmaster is quite serious. If he comes to him with unsatisfactory news, he will come to him himself. Then it would be quite difficult for him to refuse him. Then basically showed 2 fingers, saying that the second, it seemed that the student's confidence level had reached 40% in the past few days. He should return to the guild in Grand Master and take the exam soon. Said his students are incredibly fond of him. He thinks their level of trust in him has long since crossed that line. Why don't they go together? Speaking of which, if everyone knew that Master Liu and Master Zhang were the same person, it would help avoid problems, and also their disciples would have no reason to fight each other. Zhang thought about the fact that they had been tasked to cross the 40% border within 10 days. Once everything was ready, they could go back and start the final task. Walking out, the prince said that they had an agreement. Tomorrow morning they would leave for the guild. Zhang agreed. While pouring you tea, Zhang thought there, wondering how Lu Chang was doing. We should check on him. Bringing the mug up to his face, Zhang sniffed the fragrance. He realized there was earth powder in there. 2nd-ranked peak poison. Looking at the teapot, he thought, who would add such a thing to his tea? The poison might not be lethal, but who would want it? But then Meng Tao came running to him and told him to hurry up and follow him. Zhang asked, what happened? But Zhang himself shockingly asked, was there really something wrong with Lu Chun? He thought there, could it be that he was not following his instructions? No, his spiritual energy that circulates in his body has a protective function. He had also managed to pass the most difficult test, so nothing serious should happen, and the disciple replied that no, it was none of Lu Chun's business. Master Sun Chung fell into the cesspool. Zhang thought in surprise. Sun Chung had fallen into a cesspool. He, an 8th rank master, someone admired by countless women, had fallen into a cesspool. What the hell is going on? After coming to Hong Yi's repose, Zhang Huang asked him with a smile that was life so not sweet to him that he decided to end everything in the cesspool. And the prince was lying in bed, his face was gloomy. Hong Yi grudgingly thought there, if he wanted to kill himself, he would have rather thrown himself into the water or thrown himself off the tower. Who in their right mind would even choose a sinkhole? Even if he wanted to die, he certainly wouldn't have chosen to embarrass himself like that. Sitting down next to him and taking him by the brush, Zhang said he was joking, right? Putin will let him take a look. They'll see what made such an impact. But in the next instant, Zhang realized it was poison, an earthy powder. He asked, had that fallen out of the teapot that would have been his room? Zhang thought about how this poison could not only cause stomach upset, diarrhea, and a feeling of weakness throughout his body, but it could also disrupt the brain's connection with his body, paralyzing his spirit and muscles. But most importantly, how much poison did they use to make even him so hamstrung? The prince mumbled something. Taking that as a positive answer, Zhang replied with a smile that fortunately, he hadn't drunk anything. Otherwise, he would also be in a similar state right now. Such a fool to poison himself next to someone who wasn't even meant for him. The prince's mouth was bleeding. He grudgingly thought that he only drank the water in his room. It had clearly been prepared for him. He was just unlucky. Zhang Huang said with a smile that it was only a poison, so there must be an antidote as well. He has 2 options. The first involves preparing a considerable amount of necessary ingredients, which would take a couple of days. And the second option, which doesn't require so much time. If everything goes according to plan, he can cure him today. What will he choose? The prince showed 2 fingers with a trembling hand. Zhang said that was fine, and then turned to Meng Tao, telling him to step outside for a bit. He obeyed. As he walked out, the guy heard strange noises. Zhang Huang slyly held one of his needles, saying that it was fortunate that he had chosen the second option. He had read about this poison, and knows the symptoms characteristic of poisoning as well as the treatment methods. They would have to spend a lot of time and effort gathering the ingredients needed to prepare the antidote. Incredibly troublesome. It's much easier with a silver needle and spiritual energy. The principal has already lost consciousness. After a small amount of time, Zhang left the room and told Meng Tao that he needed to find a couple people to help Master Sun. He should be out in an hour or 2. Zhang also told them to look for him if they needed help. Zhang thought there, this one I was definitely for him. Walking down the street, he pondered that Mo Hongyi was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. But who could have done this? Right now, he's Master Liu. To use such a poison, who could hate him so much? Could it be someone in the medicine guild? Someone who's unhappy about him becoming the head of the guild? No, doctors are noble people who save other people's lives. He should check on Lu Chun first. In the student dormitory, Zhang asked Lu Chun how he was doing. Mother came to check on him. Once inside, Zhang saw that no one was there, and there was a letter lying on the table. The letter was addressed to Master Liu. Upon opening it, he read that the guy is asking for his forgiveness. He can't accept what happened. Let him not worry about him. Zhang asked, what does the guy want revenge? He thought about what he knew. Those thoughts never left him, but throwing himself into the embrasure immediately after finishing training. What was the rush? He wanted to teach him a martial art that could greatly increase his chances of success. Putting the letter on the table, Zhang said that even though the death of his parents was not something that could be forgiven, it was too reckless to act without knowing who his opponent was and what he was capable of. Zhang sat down at the table, saying that such a seemingly calm and intelligent man could be so reckless. He knows that the man doesn't want to drag him into this. However, if something were to happen, looking at his hand, he said that after his rebirth, he taught students for different purposes while pursuing his own. Could he still be called a teacher and student? Who is a teacher and who is a student? Being a teacher is not easy, and the same is true for students. Thinking back on all the moments with his students, he realized that it implies responsibility, reliability, strong bonds. Zhang closed his eyes, concentrating. After that, he released his power. Meanwhile, in the Grandmaster Guild, Jiang Cheng told his father that he was telling the truth. The man added that under Master Liu's guidance, Alchemist Mu had managed to create a 4th-rank pill. Jiang Shu, who was standing by the bookcase, replied that he knew. The man thought in surprise that Master Zhang was a genius alchemist. The same could be said about Master Liu. Master Zhang had practically vanished under the pretext of needing to pass the exam, while Master Liu had appeared as if out of nowhere. Two such brilliant people. Here, he asked in surprise. Could it be that Master Zhang and Master Liu were somehow related? The head didn't know what to answer, but at that moment they heard a strange ringing sound and both of them became wary. Zhang Cheng asked his father what was going on. The man frightenedly replied that it was from the Fengsha Hall. The man ran outside shouting to find out what was going on. Fenshi Hall. After successfully passing the exam, this is where masters are awarded distinctive marks. Upon successful passing, a master must petition for a distinguishing mark, bow to the statue of Confucius, and receive the approval of other masters and ancestors. A huge number of people had gathered in the hall. Jiang Shu asked in surprise what was going on. Jiang Cheng turned his attention to the plaques. In front of them, the plaques on the wall were trembling. The head shockingly said that they were vibrating. Could it be that a chosen master had appeared? But then Deputy Guan told the chairman to look back. The statue in front of them was also trembling. The men thought about the fact that even the statue of Master Confucius came into motion and wouldn't stop. Jiang Shu fell to his knees, asking what does Master Confucius recognize as the chosen one? Jiang Cheng asked in surprise, does he recognize? His father answered him that it was because he was too strong. Using their usual methods, it would be impossible to determine how much. Master Confucius founded the Grandmaster Hall. Who could be strong enough to pass a test at his level? The chairman added that a person who was recognized by the heavens must have a supreme understanding of the essence of things. He would automatically be given the status of Grandmaster. This is what is called the Chosen One. A Chosen One doesn't need to have any experience to be recognized by other Grandmasters and be a head above them. Of course, if Master Confucius himself recognized him, would others dare not to do so? Jiang Shu cheerfully said that he had only heard legends, but no one had witnessed such a thing. Only Master Confucius had managed to reach such a level. Who would have thought that such an outstanding person would appear among them? Heavenly recognition is something many dare not even dream of, and now even the master statue is trembling. The man said that there were records in the books that the master had left behind an intangible legacy of exceptional value, and when a person worthy of becoming his disciple appeared, the statue would come into action. Even the chairman of the Hall of Masters is steadfastly following his instructions. This has not happened for hundreds of years, which means that no one has ever been recognized by Master Confucius and become his disciple. He added that Confucius's followers are disciples of absolute wisdom. In his time, the master had chosen about 3,000 disciples. His disciples, being grandmasters of the 9th rank, had a much higher status than ordinary grandmasters of the same rank. The man asked, is there really such a powerful person among them? This event would shake the world. But then he wondered, who is it? Mo Hongyi, Zhang Huang? It didn't matter who it was. The chosen master had already received the approval of the heavens and it would soon become public. Meanwhile, at the Xuanwu Academy, Zhang opened his eyes, telling himself to focus. Looking at the energy around him, he thought about the fact that it was not a supernatural power, nor was it spiritual energy. Had he really reached understanding of the true essence? Had his spiritual component strengthened? Squeezing the stone to test it, he decided to see how much his power had increased. But opening his eyes, he was surprised to see that it had increased by 1.0. He thought about the fact that he had assumed that after absorbing Ming Li's energy, his strength would grow like yeast. He had expected to see a progress of 8 to 9 points, but not one in any way. He stood up, placing his hand on the table. He grudgingly said, "This totally sucks. The golden description is much better." He always gets about 5 points with it, but then his hand that was touching the table glowed. He was shocked to see the whole process of making this table. He exclaimed, asking, "That is this the Eye of Insight?" Looking at his hand, he thought about the fact that with spiritual power, one could use the Eye of Insight and see the true essence of things, down to the advantages and disadvantages of certain martial arts methods. But this was not something that a mere grandmaster could achieve. It requires at least the 6th rank. What happened? But then he was surprised again because he was transported. He found himself in a white space. He wondered if this was his subconsciousness. A man appeared next to him and asked the guy if he was willing to become his disciple, but Zhang grudgingly asked, "What kind of joke is this? He can find all the information he needs and more in the library of the Heavenly Path. Why does he need some kind of teacher? Could a rank 4, 5 master even offer him more than he could find in the library on his own?" Zhang waved his hand, saying that he wasn't interested. The man immediately disappeared, and the guy thought about the fact that this old man had invaded his mind without permission. Who knows if he's a good man or a bad one? Master Guan cheerfully said that it seemed like the whole world would soon know about their Grandmaster Hall. The principal agreed with him, and Zhang Cheng said that it was just a miracle. There had been no word from Master Confucius for so long, and now he had chosen a disciple. But in the next instant the statue cracked. Everyone was horrified. Jiang Cheng asked his father what was going on. The man replied that Master Confucius's disciples seemed to have given up. Jiang Cheng thought, shocked, he refused to become a disciple. To reject such an offer was a terrible ignorance. The chairman thought irritably as the statue came into motion, and then cracked. This means that the person that the master was willing to accept as a disciple rejected his offer. Even though Master Confucius is an incredibly powerful man, the candidate did not accept the offer. Zhang Huang opened his eyes. Looking around him, he was back in his room. He asked himself, was this an illusory space? No, he didn't feel it was a magical field. In any case, it would have been detected long ago. He's in the library after all. Could it really be some sort of trust stone? Grabbing his head, the guy asked, what kind of joke is this, asking him something like that? Why didn't he introduce himself at all? And in doing so, ripped him out of the real world. Incredible rudeness. However, why would a person, as if or out of nowhere, take him on as an apprentice? Zhang Shu exclaimed that this was an incredible event that would shake the whole world. The person who received this opportunity should be overjoyed. But this man rejected the offer without the slightest hesitation. Master Guan said that the chosen disciple rejected Master Confucius's offer. What is even going on? The chairman irritably replied that he didn't understand anything either. He thought about the fact that to refuse the master, not only would the Tianwu kingdom be shocked, the association would be horrified. Such an offer even a 9th-rank grandmaster wouldn't dare to reject. Jiang Cheng said that becoming a master's chosen means that the person has not yet been officially recognized by the Grandmaster Hall and is not a grandmaster, or is currently being examined. Who is currently taking the exams? Zhang Huang and Mo Hongyi. Where are these two even now? The chairman didn't know whether to answer or not, and the deputy told him to just tell them who it was. I mean, they were almost done, so it wasn't against the rules. Zhang Shu said that they are both here, but are hiding their true identities, which is a prerequisite for the 2nd-rank Grandmaster exam. Jiang Cheng shockedly exclaimed, is it possible that Chairman Liu Cheng is actually Jiang? His father answered him that it was. Jiang Cheng thought to himself, then it was no wonder that with such knowledge of alchemy, one could guide a 2nd-rank alchemist in producing a 4th-rank pill. He had always thought that no matter how capable or intelligent a person was, if they tried hard enough, they wouldn't fall behind. But now the difference of an eyewitness was more than ever. Guzan said that since they are still in the country, it means that one of them might be the chosen one. They would immediately realize who. Zhang Cheng said that's right. A chosen one has appeared in their Grandmaster Hall who even Master Confucius is willing to accept as a disciple. They must know who it is. But Zhang Shu asked him not to make a fuss. They will send a man now. After a small amount of time, they reconvened in the chairman's office. Zhang Shu said that Mo Hongyi doesn't seem to be feeling well. He's unconscious right now. As for Grandmaster Jiang, he has locked himself in and doesn't want to see anyone. Zhang Cheng said that in that case it was obviously Mr. Jiang. Guan replied that since they were sure of it, should they report it to the association? Zhang Shu said no. If it was only about the chosen one, then they could inform. But he rejected Master Confucius's suggestion after all. He is afraid that if the association finds out about it, it will shock everyone. The man added that the greatest mastermind of all time is getting rejected. That would shock anyone. They can't do anything about it. He will send a message to the association a little later. It's best to keep our mouths shut for now. Everyone agreed on that. Zhang thought about the fact that even though his spiritual component had strengthened by 1.0, and the Eye of Insight had opened, his rank hadn't moved a bit. Still a peak rank 8, and his cumulative power didn't exceed 5,000 din. Mu Xueqing walked up to him. He looked at her and said that he could tell that this night had not gone without a trace for him. The girl happily replied that it was all thanks to his help. The side effects of all the pills she had taken at an early age had been eliminated, so her strength had increased considerably. Zhang Huan said that her base has become much stronger. He wants to take her somewhere today. At the Emerald Pavilion, Mr. Fei was told he was early today. He asked if Mr. Lin was here. He was told that of course he could come through. A guy who had pink hair was sitting on the bed. He asked Brother Fei Xuan what he was so sad about the past few days. He replied that his marriage proposal had been rejected again. The principal sat down on the sofa and added that back in the Tianwu state, this mysterious outstanding person appeared. Ling Lan asked if he was referring to Zhang Huang. Fei Xuan replied that he had heard that he had incredible talent and great potential. He even surpasses Mo Hongyi in this. Brother asked, what's so unusual about him? After all, he was only at the beginning stages of rank 8. It would be better if he just sat quietly and kept his head down, and Fei Xuan said it's not like that. And then there's this person named Liu Cheng, the new chairman of the Medic Guild. He also teaches at Tianwu Academy. Ling Lan asked, is he the one who cured 19 incurable diseases? The guy added that it was certainly impressive. However, he's only at the beginning stage of the 7th rank. It's not worth paying attention to. Then he told them to stop talking about it. Visitors come to the Emerald Pavilion to rest and relax. The food is already cold and needs to be reheated. And someone was watching them from the street. Lu Chong, whose face was covered by a triangular hat, thought about what it is here. From the outside, the Emerald Pavilion looks ordinary. However, there are quite a few masters inside. If he really wants to do this, he shouldn't hesitate. There might not be another chance. After a small amount of time, the doors opened. Lu Chong sat at the table and Ling Lan walked out, saying that he was going to the restroom. He would be back soon. The boy headed after him, realizing that this was his chance. One girl thanked Mr. Lin for his help. The one fumbling replied that it was nothing. Let him just keep drinking, eating, and having fun. Feeling a person behind him, Lin Lan grudgingly asked, who is he? There was no need to pursue him. If he has some business, let him just say so. And Lu Chong fiercely thought about the fact that there would be no other opportunity. He must kill him today. Lu Chong rushed at his opponent, saying that he was about to send him to hell. Ling Lan was not frightened, but asked unhappily, was he serious? Didn't you have a better time? Lu Chong punched the spot where the guy was. Avoiding the splintering wooden door, Ling Lan was able to hide. As he ran away, he thought about the fact that the one with the middle stage of rank 8. As he began to use the technique, Ling Lan disgruntledly said that the man must be impatient to die. Then he asked how he dared to attack him in Wancheng. Throwing himself at the guy, he added that if he wanted to go to hell so badly, he would provide it. Preparing to attack, Lu Chong said that they would see which one of them would go there. The orange force and the blue force collided with each other. Lin Lan's mouth bled, and he thought shockingly that this strength was far more powerful than an average rank 8 stage. Lu Chong pushed the guy away from him, then rushed into the attack. Blondie said only one of them would get out of here alive. He began throwing a large number of punches at his opponent, feebly defending himself. Ling Lan thought there, he was a young master from the Ling family. How can he let some weirdo who clashed with him in the restroom win? Lin Lan shouted that he would kill him. But in the next instant, Lu Chong grabbed him by the hair on his forehead. Lin Lan was confused. Lu Chong threw his opponent over himself, sealing him into the wall. Ling Lan shouted that it wasn't fair. The young gentleman was covered in mud. He looked at his soiled hand. In the next instant, he vomited. Experiencing rage, he was about to say that today but no sooner had he finished than his opponent's foot slammed into his face, pushing him back into the dirt. Without releasing the young master, Lu Chong shouted that he had waited for this moment for almost 2 years. While lying in the mud, Ling Lan thought about the fact that he just wanted to ask if they could fight elsewhere. Meanwhile, pushing back the screen, Fei Xuan told Mr. Ling Lan that his treat was worthy. But no sooner had he finished than he saw a fight in progress. The young gentleman asked to be saved. The prince lashed out at his opponent, calling him a bastard and telling him to let the lord go now. Lu Jun thought there was a bad thing going on. He must not be seen by anyone. With one punch to the stomach, he immobilized the prince, thinking of something to deal with soon. While the prince was recovering from the blow, the guy told him that he was there to kill the one. Let him stay out of it if he wants to live. Standing up from the mud, Ling Lan laughed, asking that one wanted to kill him. Who the hell was he? Does he think he can do it so easily? Taking out one box that had a star on it, Ling Lan said that he didn't want to use this, but that one was forcing him. He was definitely finished now. Lu Chong frightenedly realized that it was a magic field box. The young master laughed evilly, telling the man to die. He slammed the box against the floor and a grating appeared around it. Lu Chong thought about how bad things were. His entire family was then wiped out by this magic field. We have to get out of here. Without thinking long, the guy jumped through the wall, shattering it. Someone asked loudly, "What's going on? Who activated the 3rd rank information?" Let them quickly find out everything that was going on there. The elder held a plaque in his hand that glowed. He said it was the formation for the young master to have. He wondered if this was all his doing. He ordered the others to report to the lord quickly. Noticing the barrier that had formed, people asked what after all had happened. Another elder grudgingly asked why the man had activated the magic field in the first place. One of the men replied that they didn't understand anything either. The young master excused himself to the restroom, and then all this happened. The master looked at everyone, telling them to pray that he was all right, or he would send them all to the other side of the world. They entered the restroom and someone told the gentleman that it looked like this was the place. The man took out an artifact and activated it. After that, he put it on the floor. As the barrier slept, they saw a young gentleman lying unconscious in the mud. The master shouted, "Who did it? Let them find him. Let them find him, even if it means turning the whole state upside down." Meanwhile, at Tianwu Academy, In his classroom, Zhang announced that the lesson was over. Guy thought about how the understanding of perfection had changed with the Eye of Insight. Previously, he had to consult the Library of the Heavenly Path before he could give advice. Frowning his eyebrows, he thought that now, with just a little effort, he could see what a person lacked and make the most recommendations for further improvement. This is the true power of a Grandmaster. Then a guy came to the teacher and said that Princess Mo Yu wanted to see him. Zhang asked the princess what brought her to him. The girl asked with a smile, "Didn't Grandmaster Lu mention last time that he wished to visit the royal library?" Her father had instructed her to invite him, and then she mentally told him that, firstly, to express the royal family's favor, and secondly, to apologize for keeping that duel a secret. Zhang thought about the fact that he had no idea where Lu Chong was right now. Zhao Yao is probably preparing right now, so she doesn't need his help. With Mo Hongyi, they agreed on tomorrow, so he is completely free today and can go to the royal library. He told the girl that it was a good idea. Walking up to the building, Mo Yu said that this was the royal library. Here one could find thousands of books that had been collected from all over Tianwu during its existence. Here, he would be able to get any book he wanted. Zhang thanked. Meanwhile, Lu Chong was hiding around the corner. On the other side of the street, guards ran by, shouting that this killer must be around here somewhere. Let them find him. There was no need to let him escape. Lu Chong thought to himself as he was incredibly careful not to let anyone see his face, and had gotten away pretty quickly. How were they able to get on the trail? He thought about the fact that if this continues, he's afraid that he might not have a way out. He can't go to Tianwu Academy so as not to jeopardize the teachers and students. Go outside the city too. It would be easy to detect him there. He nervously thought about where he should go. He decided to go to Tianwu Palace. When his family was destroyed, it was quite a high-profile case, but no one in the Grandmaster Hall had heard anything about it. He doesn't believe that the royal family wasn't involved in any way. He realized that since they were in cahoots, he had no better option. Meanwhile, in the backyard of the royal palace, the king asked cheerfully, "Is Grandmaster Lu here?" Mo Yu replied that yes, he was currently in the library. Qian Shui sadly said that they wouldn't make a wish. Everything was fate's will. Mo Yu awkwardly thought about what other fate. The girl then asked, "Did the Lin family do this to their lion? Is there any information?" The man said that 7 minions were involved, but as soon as he decided to take the case, they all committed suicide. He added that he realizes they won't learn anything this way, but their adversary has an advantage. They need to prepare well, but they need time, or they could simply be misinformed. So they have to choose quality. We need to try and find out about something else. Mo Yu inquired about what. Her father answered her that they needed to know more about the poison used. The man added that to maul a golden-tailed lion like that, this eye must be at least 2nd or 3rd ranked. Mo Yu said that only the poison hall could have such substances. The Lin family is in contact with Red Lotus City. By the way, even the healer master from Hongliang was in Wansheng a few days ago. The king said it couldn't all be just a coincidence. He sent his men to inquire about it and got answers very soon. The Lin family should not be absolved of responsibility. The princess asked what they planned to do. The man said that even though the lion had made a breakthrough, the Lin family still had Xuanyuan's support. Mo Yu agreed with this, and added that just like with the Chu family, there was nothing they could do about it. The king clenched his fist, saying that the Chu family was of noble origin and also respected by others. All 137 people were killed by the Lin family in just one night. He would never forget this. Mo Yu told her father that he shouldn't blame himself. They had Xuanyuan's token. They said that it was the prince's order. Back then, they were only a rank 1 kingdom. They couldn't stop them. The king said irritably that he knew. The circumstances were like this. There was nothing he could do about it. That's why he wants her to get close to Chairman Liu or Grandmaster Zhang. If even one of them is on their side, they won't dare to oppose them. But then a servant came to them who informed His Majesty that a terrible thing had happened. The king asked what had happened. The servant reported that the 3rd elder of the Lin family and many other people in the courtyard said they demanded an explanation. The king asked in surprise, "What is this about?" The guy excitedly said he didn't know. They are right at the gate. He's afraid soon they won't be able to be contained. When the king went outside, he was advised to turn the man over to them as soon as possible. There's no need to spoil the relationship between them. Otherwise, this could end badly. The king asked, "What do they mean?" The blonde-haired elder angrily told him to stop fooling around. They sent people to kill young Master Lin Lan. He is now in an extremely serious condition and they say they don't know what they are talking about. The king said in surprise that there must be some mistake here. But then his guard mentally relayed to him that according to the latest news, Lin Lan had indeed been attacked. The king sternly asked who did it. The guard replied that it was not yet known, but someone had recently broken into the palace. The king ordered to find him now. They must not be involved in this. The king told Elder Lin Hui that he could assure him that they had nothing to do with what had happened. The elder said with a sly grin that in that case they had nothing to fear. Just have them remove the guards and they'll watch the place for themselves. Once they catch the murderer, everything will fall into place. Mo Yu unhappily exclaimed that they said that one slipped into the palace, but is there any proof? Crack replied that of course he did. He showed a small beast on his hand and asked His Majesty if he knew what it was. It was a search and rescue rat, a special animal with an incredible sense of smell. It would track a target, even if they were hundreds of kilometers apart. Mo Tianshui irritatedly thought about the fact that this beast was even more rare than spirit stones. Even in Xuanyuan it wouldn't be found very often. Who would have thought that the Lin family would have one? Lin Hui said he thought, there is no point in explaining what kind of beast it is. It is not him saying that the killer is here, but the beast brought them here. What are they gonna say? Still don't trust him? The king thought about the fact that if he was the one who had brought them here, he could not refuse them. Handing the beast to one of the men, the elder said that since they had already said they hadn't sent anyone, they just wanted to catch the culprit. If His Majesty continued to stop them, it would give them reason to think that he was hiding something. The elder thought that if the golden-tailed lion had died, it would have been a great opportunity to oust the royal family that had ruled here for several thousand years. But not only did he not die, he also made a breakthrough. We'll have to put our plans on hold. It's best not to arouse suspicion until everything is ready. Otherwise, even with their rank 3 formation, it would be extremely difficult to resist the Supreme Beast. The king said, of course, their family has nothing to do with what happened, but they will find out the truth together when the rat tracks down the culprit. Mo Yu looked at her father in surprise. The elder told his men that His Majesty had given permission, and the king mentally told his daughter not to worry. Meanwhile, Lu Chong was running around the palace. Stopping between the stone slabs, he recognized the place. He found himself near the library and realized he couldn't feel the magic field. He heard shouting that one must be here somewhere. They mustn't let him get away. The guy realized they were on his tail. Gotta keep moving. He ran into the library. He closed the doors from the inside and someone ran behind him. Lu Chong realized that there was someone here. Turning around, he saw someone running quickly between shelves of books. The guy irritably told him to get out. But then Zhang saw Lu Chun and looked at him in surprise. The boy also saw his master. Zhang asked, why is he dressed like that? Could it be that his enemy is the royal family? But then there was a shout from the street that ordered the library to be surrounded. The boy thought about the fact that he didn't want to get the teacher involved. Lu Chong knelt down in front of the master. Bowing to the floor, he asked to be forgiven for his disobedience. He was no longer worthy to be his disciple. The trembling boy thought about asking him to forgive the point he had disappointed him. If he had the chance to meet him in his next life, he would like to be his disciple again. The elder shouted for him to come out. He has nowhere to go. The library doors opened. Lu Chong rushed to attack, shouting that he wouldn't give in to them so easily. Activating his strength, Lin Hui said that the guy deserved to die. The elder also rushed to the attack. The two opponents clashed palms. The elder thought about the fact that the guy had no fighting skills, only strength. The elder grabbed the boy's arm. He called him a truly reckless boy. Gathering to attack with his second hand, he told him not to underestimate the Lin family. The man shoved the guy off of him. The guy collapsed on the steps, kicking up dust around him. Feeling the poison on his hand, the elder thought to himself, is he really a master of poisons? Throwing himself into the attack, he thought about the fact that if that was really the case, then he needed to deal with him as soon as possible. Heading towards the guy, he yelled that he was going to finish him off right now. Lu Chong closed his eyes, thinking that it was over. He just wanted to get as far away as possible. He didn't want to implicate the master. But who would have thought that this elder would be so strong that he wouldn't even be able to fight back? The elder struck where the boy had been a second ago. They rather asked, who dared to stop the Lin family from delivering justice? Are you sick of living? And Lu Chong looked at his teacher in shock. Just then, Mo Tianshui walked over to them and told them to wait for a while. This must be a mistake. This person is the new head of the medic guild, Liu Chung. He then told Chairman Liu that this was the third elder of the Lin family. Lin Hui asked, is this the same famous doctor who was appointed to the post after he solved 19 cases that were considered incurable? He respects him, so he asks him to step aside. He will forget what just happened. Otherwise, will not apologize for his rudeness. And Zhang seriously asked what is going to happen. The king told the chairman that the young master of the Lin family was attacked, so Elder Lin Hui and his men are chasing the culprit. Just now, that young man, he had better not interfere. Lu Chong bowed to the good virtue, saying that he should be held accountable for his actions. He did that to Lin Lan, and those people came after him. It had nothing to do with him. The boy thought about the fact that if he revealed his and his teacher's relationship, he would have to share his responsibility for what was happening. Right now, all he could do was pretend like they didn't know each other. That was the only way that maybe the teacher wouldn't get in trouble for him. But Zhang Huang shouted at his disciple to shut up. Who let him talk like that? Zhang turned to the elder, asking for forgiveness. The very criminal he speaks of is one of his students. He is his teacher. Tears appeared in Lu Chun's eyes. He thought about the fact that it was for the sake of a disciple he had known for a week, who was only thinking about how to exact his revenge every now and then. Lu Chang fell to his knees in front of the teacher, thinking that the student had caused him trouble. He didn't expect the teacher to do such a thing. However, this meant that he was going against the Lin family because of him. Mo Yu thought shockedly that who would have thought that this would be his disciple. Even if it is his disciple, he has only known him for a short time. But to go against the Lin family for such a reckless person, is it really worth it? The elder frowned his eyebrows, asking, is this his disciple? And he himself thought about the fact that this Chairman Liu was only at the beginning stage of the 7th rank, while his disciple was at the middle stage of the 8th rank. The elder said he was glad the man recognized it, but how could their young master offend him? So much so that he even sent his apprentice to deal with him. Mo Yu asked Elder Lin, what does the latter mean? Even if he's his teacher, a teacher can't know what their students are doing 24/7 after all. A teacher isn't a babysitter after all. But the elder told the princess that it's only between him and Chairman Liu. She has no right to interfere. The elder told the head that he respected him as an expert in his field. Will he voluntarily follow him, or will he need to force him? But Zhang grudgingly said that he hasn't finished reading the books yet. He doesn't have time for these games. Everyone was shocked to hear such a response. Lin Hui asked unhappily, had he not expressed enough respect? Regardless of what moved him, he should go with him and obediently accept his punishment. He dared to injure the young master, so he would be stripped of his strength or killed on the spot. Let him not force him to use force. Even though he's an outstanding medic, he's only at the 7th stage. It won't be difficult for him to kill him. Lu Chang told the master that this person's strength is really intimidating. He is afraid they are no match for him. Mo Yu thought about the fact that Zhang Huang was not weak at all, but had only reached the 7th rank a couple days ago. He can't defeat him. But Zhang backed up his disciple, asking the elder, will he use force? Let him try it. Activating the power in his palm, the elder said so that in that case he wouldn't blame him for being rude. The elder rushed towards Zhang Huan. When the man's palm was next to Zhang Huan's face, he took action. There was a cracking sound. It was a familiar sound, he thought. Zhang deftly kicked his foot right at that spot of the elder, causing him to grimace. The king and princess felt this pain too. Zhang told his disciple that real battle is not a confrontation of forces, but the ability to find the opponent's weak point and use it to his advantage. His whole body is like a taut string. There is only one place from where spiritual energy seeps out. That is his weak spot. If you can find it, it's done. And all this is practically effortless. Zhang then asked if he understood everything. The boy bowed, answering that he did. Zhang told him to try it himself in that case. Lu Chang asked in surprise, so he would try it? The teacher replied that of course he should improve himself as well as hone his fighting skills. Otherwise, how is he going to be a worthy opponent to the strongest? The student said that he understood everything. The boy walked up to the elder. In the next instant, he kicked him in the heel point with all his might. This even Zhang was shocked by. Zhang shouted at the student, asking why he kicked him. The one replied that he had said to try it himself after all. Zhang said he meant to try it on those guards. This one was already half dead, and he decided to finish him off. The apprentice replied that he understood. The king and princess were shocked at what was happening. Lu Chang got down on one knee in front of his teacher and thanked him. He smiled back at him, but in the next instant, Zhang noticed that a new golden book had formed. He thought about the fact that he just wanted to save his disciple. Who would have thought that he would receive a thank you from him, and a golden page would be formed? Zhang smirked, thinking that this wasn't bad at all. With her, he would be able to use all the knowledge he had learned in the library. But he had to see this through to the end. Zhang told Lu Chun to get up. He is his teacher and he is his student. As long as that is the case, he cannot watch him being humiliated and remain indifferent. Mo Yu thought in surprise that it wasn't surprising at all that Zhao Yao and Mu Shuiqing were fighting so fiercely for his honorable name. This was who could truly be called teacher. She used to wonder why they had quarreled over just a couple of unflattering words, but now it's clear. They respect him with all their hearts. The king thought to himself, in that case it was understandable how he managed to win the favor of so many disciples in Tianwu Academy in just a couple of days. Such charisma was something that many famous teachers lacked. In order to win the hearts of others, one must first open their own. The king approached them, asking them to forgive him. He said that he did not want to disturb the idyll, but this time Liu had acted recklessly. Zhang asked, did the man really think that if he hadn't done anything, he and the Lin family would have been on good terms? The king thought there that if Lu Chun was captured, it would be quite easy to find out who was behind him. And it was Chairman Liu who saved the golden-tailed lion, thus ruining the Lin family's plans. He's afraid he's already a thorn in their side. Zhang placed his palm on his student's shoulder, saying that as long as he was his teacher, he would never be left out. Zhang said he would ask the king to handle everything else. He should go back to the library and continue reading. As for Lu Chun, have him wait for him here, and don't go anywhere for now. The king thought in surprise. Does he still have the mood for this? Lu Chang thought admiringly, as expected of a teacher, calm and unwavering. And Mo Yu thought to herself that he probably just really likes to read. Meanwhile, in the Lin family, one man asked Mr. Lin, what happened in the end? What became of the young master after he visited the Emerald Pavilion? The man replied to John Mu's envoy not to worry. The third elder had already gone to fetch the culprit. Everything will be settled soon. And the man asked how his wounds were. Are they all right? The head replied that the wounds were quite serious and quite unusual, so it would be somewhat difficult for an ordinary doctor to treat him. He had already invited physician Mu Hong from the medic guild. He's working on it. Just then the door inside opened and Dr. Mu Hong appeared. The head asked, what can he say? The man said the wounds were pretty serious, and whoever inflicted them had spared no effort. However, in his opinion, the young master is just earlier. He's afraid he's also poisoned. The head asked that if the one who attacked his son was also a poison master, because ordinary poisons don't work on rank 8 masters. The doctor said he was afraid he was. This poison is incredibly strange. He hasn't been able to recognize it. However, he tried to detect it with his aura, but it's as if this poison contains its own spiritual energy, capable of mixing with any other. The doctor added that this is why he is now also poisoned. In the next instant, the doctor coughed up blood and fell to the floor. The head asked, what should they do? But then the head looked at the envoy and said, the Red Lotus Healer Master is now in the kingdom, and also the head of the Liaoshun Poison Temple arrived yesterday. He should contact them immediately. John Mu hesitantly said that it's not that he is well connected with the Poison Temple, but he knows some good experts from there. Even though he doesn't know the name of their head, he is sure that his last name is not Liao. The head said he didn't know the details either, but it seems the previous head passed away, so his apprentice took his place. This time, he's here to escort someone quite powerful out. The man added that in any case, this information should not reach other people's ears. He tells him all this only because their families have a long history of cooperation and trust. He knows what needs to be done. John Mu told Mr. Lin not to worry. He would keep his mouth shut. The man thought about the fact that he needs to accept it. The Lin family is quite powerful, so if he doesn't, there might not be a tomorrow for him anymore. Mr. Lin greeted Master Liao. Liao Shun asked, why was the head of the Lin family so eager to meet him? The man bowed and said that there was a good reason. His son had been poisoned, and even Dr. Mu couldn't deal with the poison. He hoped the man could help. The head asked that the man had been poisoned, then asked with a smirk why should he help him. Head Lin clenched his teeth irritably, thinking about the fact that this Liaoyun Shun was the head of the Poison Temple after all. He had also reached the peak of the 8th rank. It was better not to mess with him, or else he might get angry and poison everyone here. He'll deal with it later.